Hello, I'm Supervisor Anne-Marie Graham-Hudak, and welcome to the Supervisor Summary, where we highlight items of interest from the most recent Board of Trustees meeting and other news of the day. First up, at the October 10th board meeting, the board members went over their completed goals as well as their new and ongoing goals. The strategic plan for the community was updated this past January at a day-long retreat with the board of directors. The entire plan can be found on Canton's websites. We then had the honor of swearing in new members of the Youth Advisory Council. This is a group of influential high school students who truly make a difference in their community. Members participate in community service projects, lead special events, participate in local decision-making, and award annual grants to organizations that benefit Canton youth. On the general calendar, we began with the approval of the sauna rebuild at the Summit on the Park. The sauna is getting a complete renovation due to the wear and tear that has occurred over the past 27 years. This will be a great addition to the Aquatic Center. Next, the board approved the installation of a FlexNet communication network for collection of water meter reading data. This will allow Canton to collect meter reads remotely on a daily basis, which will improve operational efficiency and customer service. Canton has more than 26,000 water meters, and this will allow streamlined collection of data. We then considered the replacement of one AC condenser and one furnace for the Human Services Building and one rooftop unit for Fellow Creek Golf Course. All of the items are identified as a priority and fall within the budget. The HVAC unit at Human Services Building was installed in 2001 with a life expectancy of 20 years maximum. In June of this year, unit number 4 at the Human Services became inoperable due to a failed compressor. The RTU at Fellows Creek has a crack on the heat exchanger, making it unsafe to operate, and replacing a heat exchanger on a unit over 20 years old is just not financially responsible. Next, the board approved a letter of agreement with the Canton Command Officers Association for the creation of 2 dispatch supervisor positions and associated amendments to the 2023 police and fire budgets. The police and fire departments requested to create and fill 2 new dispatch supervisor positions to be part of the Canton Command Officer Association bargaining unit. These positions will replace the 2 now vacated public safety dispatch IT supervisor positions from the township's merit system. This request also included amendments to the 2023 police and fire budgets for 2 months of salary and fringe benefits to accommodate the increase in salary from the formerly budgeted merit positions. Item G7 was a request to consider the acceptance of a resignation and appointment to the Election Commission. The Charter Township Act of Michigan indicates that the Board of Township Election Commissioners for each township is to be composed of the township clerk and 2 trustees and appointed by the Township Board. In our case, Trustee Stephen Snyderman has served dutifully as an appointed member of the Election Commission since 2016. He is asked to resign prior to the term expiration. To follow the Charter Township Act, Trustee Tanya Ganguly will be appointed in place of Stephen until the term expiration of November 20th, 2024. The board then approved a resolution establishing the Village Arts Factory and the Summit on the Park as early voting locations. Last November, Michigan voters passed Proposal 22, enacting early voting. Now, Canton Township has the legal responsibility to provide a suitable early voting site. Using election studies and voter population maps, the Village Arts Factory and the Summit have been identified as equitably distributed to handle early voting traffic. Next, the board considered the first reading of an amendment to Chapter 14 of Canton's Code of Ordinances regarding dogs in parks and dog licensing, which would establish a 3-year dog license fee of $25. The impetus for this amendment comes from Wayne County, which passed a resolution to allow local jurisdictions to issue 3-year dog licenses instead of 1. In an effort to increase efficiency, reduce costs, and provide for resident convenience, the clerk's office will now begin issuing these licenses. A request charging $25 would result in a $5 saving to dog owners. Additionally, the current ordinance regulating dogs in Canton is not in compliance with state law. To bring it into compliance, amendments for service animals and rabies requirements are proposed. Lastly, the board approved a budget adjustment to purchase early voting equipment and materials. In the 2022 general election, Michigan voters passed Proposal 22, which enacted many changes in the election process and its timeline. When the clerk's department was initially creating their budget for 2023, this legislation didn't exist. Therefore, the current budget is not sufficient to cover the purchases needed to accommodate these changes. These purchases will include state-recommended tabulators for early voting sites, early voting notifications, postage and materials to print and mail applications, potential ballot on demand systems for each voting site, early voting site printers, and state-required ballot drop boxes plus installation. And those are just some of the highlights from the October 10th Board of Trustees meeting. If you would like to hear more in-depth discussion about any one of these items, you can always watch the full board meeting on the Canton Community Television channel on YouTube. Thank you for watching.